Hey guys, welcome to this Meshery Development Meet. Today is 19 November 2025. We conduct this meet every Wednesday. For more information about all the meets that we conduct in Meshery, do check out the Layer 5 calendar here. So on every Monday, we have the websites meet. On every Wednesday, we have this meet, which is the Meshery Development Meet. And every Thursday, we have the newcomers meet. So if you're new to this project, first time joining the project, do meet us tomorrow as well. So to start off with Meshery, what is Meshery? Meshery is a CNCF sandbox project which helps you maintain your cloud infrastructure. It is also the sixth fastest growing CNCF project out of the 200 plus projects in CNCF. So we're also closing in on nine. We are across 9,000 members in the community. So it's a pretty big community right now, and it's still growing. And for more information on Meshery, please do check out the Meshery.io or docs.meshery.io. And to kick off our meeting, I request you all the attendees to add your names in the attendance list here in the section here. I will share the link to the sheets in the Zoom chat as well. Right, so please do add your attendees, your names in the attendance section here. And also, if you have any agenda items, any PRs, issues, please do add them in the topic section here. And also, we will dedicate the next 30 seconds for any newcomers here, first time meeting, attending this meet, or first time getting involved in this project. Please do open up your camera and introduce yourself, talk about what your Meshery and what tech stack you're currently working on. So I think we can start with the Divyanshi Patak. If you are here, you can turn your camera and mic and introduce yourself. Divyanshi. But if you cannot introduce yourself in live here, you can introduce yourself in Zoom chat or in Slack as well. We can move on to the next one. Shrikant, if you're here, can you please turn on your mic and camera, introduce yourself, and talk about your tech stack you're working on?
Yeah, hello, I'm Shrikant and I'm undergrad student at Scalar School of Technology and I'm working on the server part of Meshery and basically in Golang.
Okay,
Yeah,
right. Welcome to the community, Shrikant.
thank you.
Nice to have you here. And uh, and anybody else who would like to go next? Abhishek?
Sorry, I didn't hear you guys. Like, what are you guys saying?
Yeah, Abhishek, we are now allowing newcomers, anybody who's new to the project, to introduce themselves and talk about the tech stack they work on. So, if you mind, yeah.
So yeah, currently I'm working as an intern, and mainly we work in Golang. So it is my first meeting here, so I don't know that much what we guys doing here. So I just come here to get to know, familiar with the things. So yeah, that's it.
Got it. Yeah, welcome. So let's again, if anybody who missed out on introducing themselves, you can do that in Zoom chat right now, or you can do that in Slack. So we'll move on to the next item, which is the standing agenda items. I don't see I don't see Matthew or Ian today, so I think we can skip over the standing agenda items. We can move on to the announcements section. A bit has a new post on Docker about Docker Canvas extension. Don't think we have a bit here as well. I think Lee, would you like to talk about this? Or yes, do you have any?
Okay, he's no.
Okay, yeah. Okay, sure. We can move on to the
Him,
yeah. We can
I
move.
can
Yeah,
I can give a short description
sure.
about Meshery at KubeCon
Sure.
Atlanta. So we had like three talks with respect to Meshery. One by Yash, a lightning talk, and one by Lee and others about how to effectively manage CNCF projects. And the other one was a country fest where Lee, Yash, and Shive and myself, we were part of the Content Fest where Lee had taken us through the architecture, and then Shive and Yash had spoken about Canvas, and there were couple of attendees who were really interested in this. Basically, in their organizations, they were handling the infrastructure and everything. And there was one attendee who talked about using Miro Miro boards for designing things, but it wouldn't eventually translate into YAMLs, right? So she was interested in that, what Meshery provides. And there was a student who joined the country fest where he was still under the impression that Meshery is only for service management, performance management kind of thing. And I had to tell him that it has evolved beyond that, and it can do much more now. And yeah, I think maybe Yash can add to what the other folks were really looking from the Canvas point of view, like if you have something to add, Yash.
Yeah, sure. So, um, thanks for sharing this info. And I hope jet lag is not too much for you. I can feel
Yeah.
it. Personally, like I'm pretty tired. I'm just getting myself up to date with everything. But yeah, apart from that, yeah, the lightning talk was pretty great. It was attended by a lot of people, and a lot of questions also came to me. One was the question was which took my interest, like during that contest, I think there was a girl we were talking with, and she asked a question that in her organization, they usually were using a single Kubernetes cluster, but they have a multiple namespaces. And what she asked me, like, how can we use Mishri to the R do the RBAC for all of these namespaces? Mean she doesn't want other team to see the namespace which are managed by other team. So I was having a discussion on how the RBAC works in a mystery, how the permission works in the mystery level. But she wanted, like, how can she make sure that if some team have access to particular namespace, other team doesn't see that way, because she is a platform engineer. And I think I already shared the LinkedIn with Lee as well, so that we can follow up with her to see if she has more feedback and how she wanna go forward with. But yeah, I think from my part, that's it. And it was great meeting you all as well. It was great meeting Lee and others as well. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a pretty wonderful experience, guys. Lee, would you like to add to that?
Yeah. Yash, will you rephrase the question that she asked?
yeah, so what she was looking for is, like, in her team, they use a single Kubernetes cluster. And as a platform engineer, what she was doing is, like, they have namespaces for different teams to manage, and a particular team cannot access namespace managed by other team. And how can we do that with Mishri? And so I was having a discussion on the permission side of this, but she was looking for more depth if she can follow up on it. So I got the LinkedIn of her to do the follow
Gotcha.
up, and I shared
Yeah.
with you as well. So this
Great.
was the main thing she was looking to follow up on.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Well, as it turns out, we'll talk a little bit about, well, not a little bit, we'll talk about that very thing today, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think it was Lynn King, maybe, if I
Yes.
remember.
Yes.
Something. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, she's from, I think she works at Guidewire currently. And actually one of her counterparts at Guidewire had offered up a quote in our press release about Canvas going generally available. So that's great. So they're definitely talking about Meshery internally, and yeah, I'll we'll expand on that answer hopefully now, because it's depending upon your vantage point.
Mhm.
It can be answered in different ways, and the way that
Yeah.
you answered it is a good way, with like customizable permissions, I suspect, with keys and keychains, and that's wonderful. And then there's a second half to that, and so
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, we'll get to it. Hey, real quick, just to Darshan, you'd called out the Docker Canvas extension. There's a blog post that will probably come out this week on docker.com/blog, I guess is the location, about one of Meshery's extensions, the Canvas. We've previously released a Docker Meshery extension. So for anyone who's on the call, and if you run Docker Desktop, there's a marketplace of extensions that you can just apps that you can install in Docker Desktop, basically, these extensions. For a couple of years now, there's been and continues to be one for Meshery. So if one of there are two super easy ways to install Meshery as a user and start to use it and get value. Actually, I have to correct what I just said. There's one super easy way to start to use Meshery. The easiest is just to visit the playground in your web browser. That's the easiest way to start to use it. The easiest way to install Meshery, arguably, like if you have Docker Desktop already, then probably the easiest way to install Meshery is just to go right to where Darshan is and you click install. And it installs Meshery, and Meshery shows up in the left-hand side of your Docker desktop. So it's just an app that's readily available. So the blog post written by a Docker employee and Abid Sofi, one of the maintainers, is in announcement of a Canvas, or Docker Canvas extension. So very similar. This one's just stripped down a little bit to just drop you directly into Canvas. So that's what that blog post is about. So good job, Abid. He's off taking an exam right now, so he's not on the call. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, good. Now we can move on to the topics. Ijoma, you're first. You can share your screen.
Yeah. Um, okay, just a second. Let me hide this. All right. So I recently worked on adding a docs to adding CLI plugins to the extensibility page on Meshery docs. So this is basically it. I talked about the home canvas snapshot, also the kubectl mesh sync snapshot. And also I linked the docs page to the Meshery extension GitHub. So these are the two PRs here. Yeah.
Nice. Good. Is Matthew on? Maybe not.
Yeah,
I
No.
think he.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Matthew might have given a bit of review. I think I did as well. The wonderful. This is great. Hard to believe that that we have some of these CLI plugins and didn't have a page up. So this is great. It's a fully complete page. And one thing about what I just said, the phrase that I just used, that I think is confusing with how I just said it is, and actually I'll interrupt for a second just to say it was nice to have Yash Sharma on, but I know he's sick. He just got done traveling back and forth to a couple of different continents, and so he's probably got to take off. But happy birthday, Yash! What? Yash?
Hey.
All right. Happy birthday, Yash! All right.
Thank you.
Good. Good. All right. Go be sick on your birthday somewhere else. I guess. That's terrible. I know, wonderfully terrible at the same time. I don't know. Good. Well, okay. But sorry. So what I was going to say is I just said, oh, it's good if we have a CLI plugins page. And so, I think this PR is certainly ready to merge, but the manner of phrasing that is a little bit confusing to me. The way that it's not what Ijoma wrote, it's the way that I just said it. If Meshery it is an extensible platform, it has many different extension points, which is just to say that you can plug in third-party components, separate components than from what comes directly from the main release, the stable release. These extension points come in different shapes and sizes. Some use gRPC as their interface. Some use a REST API as their interface. I won't go through the list. It's a list, various ways in which you can extend the platform. And so as I sit here and listen to us talk about a CLI plugin, there's Meshery CLI. And when I hear that, like, oh, there are extension points in the tool, in the project, I think that this means I can extend Meshery CLI. Oh, if I want to augment Meshery CLI's behavior, I can write a plugin for the Meshery CLI. And so that's what this page must be talking about. And it's not. It's talking about extensions that have been written. Right, Ijoma, is that right? Or?
Yeah, but below the page, I also explained how you can sort of add your own plugin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good. Let's go over that. Like add your own plugin into.
So if you want to build a new CLI plugin that integrates Meshery, you can typically. So I just give a step-by-step way of how, or a guide of how you can build your own plugin to use the existing Meshery features or something.
Yeah. I guess Matthew isn't on the call. But yeah, actually what I mean to call out is that Meshery CLI doesn't exactly have extension points just yet, I don't think. And this page that's written is completely valid and it's a good page. But the direction, but do you see the difference between if you want to write code that plugs into Meshery CLI versus write code that extends like the Helm CLI or Cube CTL? The code itself plugs into those CLIs versus plugging into ours.
Yeah, I get it.
Both are valid. It's just that as a project, we've yet to design an area of extensibility within Meshery CLI. At least that's kind of true. It's mostly true. Like we don't have, but I think we could change that story. And so Ijoma, I'll describe this briefly. Maybe this is something that you could help formalize. That is how it is that Meshery CTL is extensible. How can you add code to change the behavior of Meshery?
Okay.
Two thoughts come to mind. And I say this with a grain of salt, that if you want to create a new command to augment the behavior or enhance the behavior of Meshery CTL, we have this experimental area. And actually, Ijoma, if you're sharing, I wonder if you might be able to navigate to like the CLI, like the third bullet from the bottom of your list, like the CLI command reference or something. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, you're right. It's in the menu on the left.
Okay.
The third one from the bottom would work.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nice. So Ijoma is highly familiar with this area of the project. That very last Meshery CTL EXP. Oh, if you're developing a new feature, an entirely new command, or maybe a new flag on a command that you can, just as a development process, we put those newer features behind experimental as a way of getting them exposed to users and exposed to ourselves so we can start to use them but designated under like it's experimental so everyone knows maybe this, the behavior might change or it may not work, it might have a bug. So as I think about how to make Meshery CTL extensible and allow people to change its behavior, it's like, well, that normal development process that we have sort of fits into this type of a story. It's not exactly a designated extension point. It's like the designated new feature point. With that said, imagine that instead of it saying EXP as like short for experimental, if it said EXT as short for extension, like, oh, then it would be designated. Anyway, we were just talking about Docker desktop or Docker extensions a moment ago. And we were looking at Docker desktop and how you can install an extension. Well, Docker CLI, just the Docker command, it has an extensions command. The Docker CLI has an extensions command that lets you install extensions or do whatever. And Ijoma, you've just got done working with a Helm's approach to extensibility. Anyway, it's one of those things that you might be able to develop as unto your own time, how it is that we might have a framework to allow others to, insert in. And why would they want to do that? Or like, anyway, you want to think through some of that stuff. Like, I don't want to speak and take up much more time, but yeah, food for thought. I mean, just so we want to clarify that on the page that's about to be merged into Meshery docs, that this is not an extension point. Rather, these are descriptions of extensions that have been written where, and that are available in other CLIs, Helm, kubectl. So the placement of please reflect on that and consider where that page is placed. And I don't remember the original request that I had made, but I might have phrased it inappropriately.
Okay, this is it.
Yeah, I create a new plugin. Good. This is exactly what you did. And if you click on the see this related issue, what is it?
It's just linking it to the Meshery extension.
Oh,
yeah.
right. If you go back, I guess that if you go back, or you go to the Meshery docs, there are places where we list out our extensions.
Yeah. Here.
And so do we have CLI extensions here?
No. So we just we just have them like listed, Helm Canvas, MailSync. It's not kind of grouped. So except I create like a CLI extensions and move this. Oh, sorry, my light just went off. I move this to move this to the CLI extensions folder.
Yeah. So
what do you think about that?
Okay. Yeah. It's a little bit. Yeah. Hey, so for other people that are on the call, actually we need some help right here. We have an integration in Artifact Hub. It's not listed. it's not listed as an extension. Anybody on the call want to undertake that? If you go to Artifact Hub, you can see that it natively supports Meshery designs. If you look at the various artifacts that it understands Meshery designs. There are 358 Meshery designs at the moment.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's no one on the call that wants to pick this up.
I think I can write a good issue up with the descriptive instructions on what to do. I think we can put that as a good first issue.
Yeah, my sense is that there's no one here that's paying enough attention to. I think it'll just be more work to write it up and then answer all the subsequent questions, and then to just go complete it, especially since no one's chiming in. So forget it. I'll do it. I just try to give people an in, but they don't take it. All right, let's move on. Ijoma, you'll reflect on the difference between an extension and then extensibility and try to figure out
Okay.
what to do with the current PR, like what to do with whether or not it might just need to be moved, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so from everything you explained and from what I understand, it's just better we sort of move this to here, or probably we can just move this to the extensions, and then when I figure out how we can extend our current mesh CTL, that would make sense to be under here. Sorry, under the
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's
okay, here.
weird. Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. I think you're right. I think that sounds appropriate.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
interesting thing, or one way of re-articulating this and thinking about it, is that the topic of extensibility it's placed. Well, it's all about contributing. It's basically like contributing, guys. How can you augment Meshery's behavior in various ways? Anyway, that explains why it is that extensibility is not adjacent to extensions, or like these extensions are how Meshery's extensibility has been taken advantage of and put to use. And here's a list of them.
Yeah.
And now that I said that, I have to correct myself. And this will be the last thing I say, I swear. It's true that the list of extensions are examples of how people have put Meshery's extensibility to use. It is also the case that people like Ijoma have written Meshery extensions that don't run inside of a Meshery component, but rather run inside of third-party programs like Helm CLI, kubectl, and the Artifact Hub one that I just mentioned. It mostly run. It's like mostly that we have enhanced Artifact Hub to be cognizant of what a Meshery design is. Unbeknownst probably to many of you, the Meshery catalog on meshery.io/catalog, it runs a small program to publish Meshery designs from the catalog, all 358 of them, to Artifact Hub. And when it does, Artifact Hub recognizes those artifacts as a Meshery design. So, okay, that's all I had to say.
Mhm. Okay, so let me stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Juma. Lee, you're next with the RBAC.
Yeah,
Sure.
do we mind? Can we? I've been talking a lot. I feel like that sucks for everyone else. Do you mind if we skipped and come back to mine?
Sure, yeah, I'll skip this for now. Divyanshi, you're up next.
Yes, thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Devyanshi Pathak, and I've been diving into the Meshery ecosystem from the past month, like since the past month. And currently, I'm studying about the Meshery models and specifically focusing on the relationship definitions. Um, as There was a thread created by Leon Slack today for contributions regarding the creation of Meshery relationship definitions. So I'd like to contribute to that, and with that in mind, I have created I've tried experimenting of creating definitions in the UI right now, and I have also imported models and worked on that. So, Darshan, I would like to ask for some mentorship from you regarding this.
By the way, actually, this is awesome that you tried on your own, experimenting with relationship definitions and models. And thank you for bringing this up. So we are looking for new contributions for for relationship definitions for models. So I think before we go there to relationship, I think it's first important to understand what a model is and how it's used. So I think we have a contributor series on, and we have documentation as well on how you can contribute to models, what are models. We have it by Abed. You can go to this link called Meshery.io Talks and Trainings. I'll share this link here as well in the chat. So you can go to the last one here for Meshery models, check out the YouTube video, and we have that from server UI, CLI, etc. So yeah, I think it would be great if you would first understand what a model is, how it's utilized in the canvas, and after that, then you can go to the mesh models in the GitHub repository. You can look at the predefined relationships there. So I think Divyanshi, since you were experimenting on creating new relationships, you can check out the mesh models. Like for AWS, we have a bunch of relationship definitions, Kubernetes, and we are in need for GCP and for a bunch more of the models present in Meshery. So I think we should first start off with the models to answer your question. Is that familiar set with models, how you can import them, and then I'll make a the plan is to get introduced to models first, and then I can make issue template where each of you can experiment, import it in your UI, and create the relationship. Set the proper mutated refs, and then once it is confirmed, yeah, so that it's working and it's relevant, then we can bring that up and actually define it in our integration sheets, which is where the single source of truth for our relationship definitions, model, and components. So to answer your question, please go through the models documentation and the relationship documentation and experiment with the predefined relationship. Soon I'll be sharing the steps for how you can contribute to relationships. I'll make a good issue template, and yeah, I'll guide you through in the newcomers channel especially.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'd like to say that I have actually done like almost 30 to 40% of the stuff you just said, like going to the contributor training series and getting a hang of the models, importing them, etc. And I'd be really looking forward to the instructions from you now.
You can also share your findings and any exploration that you've done in the newcomer channel. Like I found this out, so make sure that you're at the right path. Like you can go wrong, and then you can keep that in your mind, and you probably might not share it with others. So it's good if you could bring your experience in the newcomer channel as well. What you found out, it'll be helpful for others as well. So Yeah, that was the point. Thank you, Devanshi, for working on that, by the way. So yeah, I'll be sharing more information in the newcomers channel, how you can contribute to the relationship definitions. Right. We'll move on to the next one, Ritesh.
Yes. So the issue was to publish the latest schema to the website here. So schema had various versions. Some of the constructs were of beta 1 and some were of version different versions. So it was hard to find the latest version. So it has to be published to this site. So I found out like the latest schema version is been figured out in the release process. The release process runs the make build command, which triggers this script where the model generation happens. And in here, all the latest versions are hard coded. So what I did was I used a script to pass this versions and use this versions, latest versions to publish that to the index.md. And also some of the constructs like relationship and selector had JSON schema instead of open API specs. So I've also used that JSON to publish it here. So that was my PR.
Do you have a demo of the site?
No, actually, I do not have a demo. I use this a function I wrote to partially check the script and publish it in here as a markdown.
Okay. So, okay. So you're not going to show the result, the website?
No, I don't have it published there yet.
Okay. You're relying on hard-coded naming of each of the.
Yeah, actually, I had the doubt like I found that this was the source of truth for the latest version, but I thought it would be better if we just scan the directories for the latest version, like by scoring the versions. Like if a construct has a beta one, then we will use that instead by scanning the directory which has the largest scoring. Like
Yeah.
if a construct has beta one, then we can use that to publish to the.
Yep. Yep. That's the whole point. Otherwise, there's no point to your script at all. There's 0 point to it. It's overhead, extra maintenance, doesn't like you're not demoing the site. If you're going to manually list out what the latest version is of each of the constructs, that's it. Just hit publish on the website. Then it's just manually curated. There's no point to the script.
Okay, I will use that script to
No, but
now.
what's the point of your script right now? What value is it providing?
Actually, it's just passing this latest versions and
I mean,
publishing it there as a website. It's just
what's
doing
the
that.
value? What's the I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I will take it as a feedback and now use that script to pass the directories and select the latest version and then use that version to publish it here.
You know, but I mean that's what I described the 2 times that I described it before. So what's the value of the script that you've written? Because Ritesh, like we go round and round and round on this kind of a thing where you misunderstand. And so I don't know if it's worth it for you to go off and spend more time working on it if you don't understand the objective. So what value does this script provide?
Currently, it doesn't provide any script because it is using this as a latest version. But I wanted to say like here I will instead of doing that, I will use this directories to find the
I
latest
know
version.
you just Ritesh, I know you just said that twice before that you're going to use the script to go find the, which is exactly what was asked for in the first place. And so you're not giving a direct answer when I say what value does the script provide? I think you meant to say that it doesn't provide any, but the words that you said were, this script doesn't provide any script. So is there any use of the script that's helpful? Is there anything that it does that's helpful?
No, actually, it just that script only publishes. I have the
Just
part
no.
of that.
The answer is just
Yeah,
no. I mean,
no, yeah, no.
you keep saying other things, and it's like, no, but then what? It publishes something, so that's helpful?
Yeah, when it publishes here, then it's helpful, but otherwise, no.
I mean, why don't you just, you already wrote down the list of the latest constructs, just paste them here, then you're done.
Yeah, but the script that when someone updates the any
Yes,
of
I know,
the
which is exactly why you would need a script, but you didn't do that. So yes,
yeah
right. Like, dude, okay. Okay.
yeah when
How
I
are you
will
gonna, just to help ensure that you're gonna be, actually, I guess we only have 17 minutes left, so never mind. Good. Yeah, I hope you get it the next time.
yeah, sure.
To be clear, in the meantime, Ritesh, to get some return on investment for the time spent trying to explain this to you, make sure that you go take that static list and get it published.
Yeah.
Yes, today you'll do it for sure. Do you understand what's being asked, or do you have a question?
Yeah, we just want to add that. Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
Guys, we are at the end of our topics, but before we move forward, I'd like to add things to what Divyanshi was talking about relationships. So let me just walk you through
Yeah,
the
wait, Darshan. Actually, we do need to go back to the topic. It wasn't about skipping the topic, literally. I just didn't want to be the one speaking for that long. We do need to cover the other
sure, sure.
vulnerability. All right, great. So a security researcher reported an issue with how it is Meshery has its access to Cube API defined. It's defined with wildcards, which is to say that for each of the Kubernetes API resources that Meshery needs to access, it grants itself all of the permissions, which as a piece of management software is a natural thing for it to need to do. It needs broad scoping access to manage whatever it is that a user puts into a design, which could be from anything in the cluster, anything outside the cluster, anything that you can articulate inside of a manifest. And that's not predefined. We don't know what the user is going to put into that design, so we don't know what permissions to necessarily give Meshery when you deploy it. Is there anyone on the call that groks this challenge, that wants to re-articulate the challenge? I mean, that can re-articulate it. Is if no one understands what I just said, then we may as well not talk about it. Because you'll just have to hear my voice and you won't get anything out of it. So I'll wait for a few more seconds. Ready? And so good. So no one understands that Meshery needs to interact with Kubernetes API and create things and read things and delete things. So, okay, well, I'll be making a proposal about changes to docs and potential future changes in .9. And that's it. So then the next topic is new build time extension point. So Abid isn't here, but I'm familiar with the work that he's got going on here. So speaking of Meshery's extensibility, The extension points for Meshery, like I was saying, come in various shapes and sizes. And the way that I usually characterize the shapes and sizes has to do with the interface that the technical interface or the framework that is exposed, whether that's a REST API, a GraphQL API, gRPC interface, a Go plugin. There's a list, like I was saying. I didn't go through the whole list, and I still haven't gone through the whole list, but those are all like various shapes and sizes, various frameworks that Meshery exposes intentionally for people to augment the behavior of Meshery. This bullet point that Abid is working on, there's an open pull request on this in the Meshery repo. This extension point is slightly distinct. This extension point isn't talking about a particular framework to hook into and change Meshery's behavior. This is talking about a particular point in time in which you can insert extensions. Some of you may or may not, some of you might know that when you log into Meshery, when you sign in, that is a moment in time in which Meshery will talk to the provider, the identity provider, and retrieve plugins. If the provider is saying that this user has signed in and this user needs these extensions, they are capabilities that are available to the user, Meshery server will retrieve those in real time at that login moment. So that's a runtime extension point. There is a boot time extension point which is when Meshery server boots up. If you watch the logs that it gives, it will go out and retrieve a collection of existing models, what you guys were just talking about, Meshery models. It will retrieve those. Usually it does it from disk, from local file system. That local file system could be a remote file system though. So it retrieves those and self-registers those models. That's an extension point. You can add your own models. You can remove the models. You can build Meshery with just one model or 0 models, whatever. Right now it's like 300 models. It'll also retrieve WASM filters. It's a different topic. It'll retrieve published catalog items. It'll do a number of things at boot time. There's a boot time extension point. All right. So there's a runtime one. It'll load plugins as you log in. There's a boot time one that just runs once. When Meshery server boots, it'll retrieve artifacts and register those artifacts. And now with this PR, there's a build time extension, which is to say that while you're compiling Meshery server and Meshery UI code, the Golang and the JavaScript, that you might want to include well, I'm about to confuse this actually. Let me state this differently. I think this particular PR, this build time extension point, is just to say when you're building the Docker image for Meshery, you might want to pre-bundle some extensions that have already been built and just include them inside of the Docker image. Meshery, for anyone who's used Meshery CTL, you might have noticed that you get a hidden Meshery folder in your local home directory. That folder is now proposed to be copied into the Docker image. So if files are present, like pre-built extensions are present at the time of Docker image creation for Meshery, that folder and its contents will be copied into the image. So you can ship Meshery with pre-built extensions and maybe forego the need to load an extension every time that someone signs in, or check to see if you need to load an extension every time someone signs in. Most of the time, every time that any of you guys sign into the playground, Meshery server will check with the provider and determine whether or not what capabilities the provider has. They have a machine-to-machine conversation. Meshery, the remote provider says, I have these capabilities. And actually, since this user just authenticated, this user is entitled to these things. This user has these permissions and is entitled to these plugins or these capabilities. So Meshery is highly extensible. You could disable the capability for someone to run a performance test. If the provider is telling Meshery server that you can plugins are available and they're at this location, Meshery server will in real time go retrieve that package, which could contain UI plugins or Golang plugins, download them, unpackage them, or unarchive them, insert them in real time. Now, for most of us that sign into the playground, most of us are using the same provider, and most of us are entitled to the same things, at the same permissions, the same plugins, like almost basically all of us. And so Meshery server, though, will have that interaction every single time someone logs in. It won't download plugins that it already has. It keeps track of the plugin version. It doesn't download them. It doesn't do that work duplicatively. But it does have that conversation duplicatively. Often that's exactly what you want, because different users sign in. You want to give them different things, or they have different permissions. But sometimes it isn't what you want. Sometimes you just want this hardened version of Meshery running. So that's what this build time extension point is about, is to facilitate the preloading of those extensions. And along with that, to have a flag that basically disables that login lookup, that disables the runtime extension. So I don't know if that was just me saying a bunch of words. Does anybody have questions about that? So this kind of a thing that I'm just saying, this is should be and is all covered in the extensibility pages in the docs. There's a whole GitHub organization called Meshery Extensions that is dedicated to housing the healthy number of extensions that people have written. I think it's about 30 right now that are over there. So there's one extension as we switch topics, maybe. So we go to talk about Meshery extensions. Is there anyone on the call that's been working on the Shapes Builder extension? Okay, just thought I'd check it. I know there's some work that's happening there recently. So anybody have any other thoughts or questions? Or oh,
Guys,
good. In that
don't
case,
have
I'm
any
glad I didn't bore you guys with the discussion about permissions. There's a lot of, it's a pretty juicy topic. It's pretty interesting, the overly permissive RBAC configuration, but I don't want to bore you guys since no one spoke up. So, okay. Yeah. Thanks, Darshan. That's all I had.
Yep. So guys, if you have any doubts, you can surely go to Slack and ask your questions there as well if you cannot ask here. And to close off, I'll just add one more thing about relationships. So if you want to check out the predefined relationships, go to the mesh models in the Meshery repository, go to server mesh models. You can check out the existing models or the list of the models here. And inside of the models, you will see the Kubernetes. Like for example, if you take Kubernetes model, you will have the list of versioned models here, and then we have components and relationships. So you can use human relationships in Canvas. You can come here or in your local, folder, check out each of these relationships, what they do inside of them, and you can experiment them by adding new relationships to other models as well. So yeah, and you can import them by Meshery model import. You can check out the docs for that as well. And yeah, you can surely go and copy paste the same structure here, change the the model and the mutated refs and everything. You can experiment that for now. I'll be making a more comprehensive, description or issues on how you can do that as well on your own. So yeah, anybody else have any important things that they want to discuss or bring up? We'll wait for 5 seconds for that. All right, I don't think there's anything. So if there's anything you want to talk about, go to Meshery. I mean, go to Slack. You can tag people there and ask questions there. And yeah, guys, you got join us tomorrow for newcomers meet. Um, you can go to the calendar here again. I'll show the link. You can check out all the meets we conduct. Meet us tomorrow in the newcomers meet. We'll introduce you to Meshery project, how you can contribute, and how you can start with your contribution. So yeah, thank you guys for joining today. Join us tomorrow as well in the newcomers meet. We'll see you in Slack. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Darshan. See you guys.